Hi, greetings, fellow Slayers. Well, our look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 4 now comes to a close with the final episode of the season, Restless. So, first part, falling asleep. Buffy said her well and Giles meet at Buffy's to relax with videos after their victory over Adam. Meanwhile, Riley has to leave for deep briefing expects to be granted honorable discharge due to many people testifying that Riley is why they're alive, was the government's desire to keep him silent about the initiative and go speak with his superiors. After he leaves, everyone settles down to watch Apocalypse Now. Joyce comments after everything that's happened she expects them to be exhausted, but the gang claims they're feeling pretty wired due to the enjoying spell they had cast. Joyce leaves them to it, and the Scooby sit down for evening movies, only to fall asleep before they can even get through the FBI warning. Each begins to dream. Sounds like a Willow's dream. Willow's dream begins with her painting a poem in Greek on Tara's naked back. She comments she feels a lot of anxiety about her identity and secrets she has. Tara tells Willow, they will find out about about you. They will find out, about you. She then asks if Willow will be done with her homework in time for class. Willow says that she doesn't want to leave, but when Tara asks, but you've never taken drama before. You might miss something important. While walking through the college hallway, Willow shows why Xander and Oz discuss the fact that she and Tara like to do spells together now. Will then shows up for drama class and is faced with the opening performance of the class's production of Death of a Salesman, directed by Giles, and also starring Buffy, Harmony, and Riley as the cowboy. Offstage, Amanda announces to her he's found a place for the cheese slices, which he displays on a table. As Giles warns everyone that Willow has never As Giles warns that everyone Willow has never met is in the audience, she realizes with increasing uneasiness that she knows neither her lines nor her role. While the play begins, Buffy shows up in her normal clothing and saves Willow from unseen attackers wielding knives, stabbing a Willow through the stage's side curtains. She then takes Willow into a different classroom, and Buffy insists that Willow was wearing a costume. Despite her denies, Willow's clothing is pulled off by Buffy, and she is revealed wearing the same dress she wore as a high school sophomore. Oscar to Tara, I tried to warn you, and the two started flirting with each other. Xander mocks her as she nervously begins her book review of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. As she does, a primitive girl attacks her. Willow has life sucked out of her in front of the class. It's just a real Willow in the living room. Uh-oh. Now into Xander's dream. Xander wakes on Buffy's couch to find a bizarrely altered version of Apocalypse Now playing on the television. After excusing himself to use the bathroom, he finds himself the subject of an attempted seduction by Joyce. He goes to the bathroom, but discovers a big space behind him filled with scientist types who are watching him. He leaves to find another bathroom. He then meets Buffy, Giles, and Spike in a playground, where Buffy plays in the sandbox with Giles and Spike, both wearing identical tweed suits, enjoying the swings. Giles tells Xander that Spike is like a son to him and is being trained as a watcher. Xander roasts Buffy about playing there, which just is okay because they're not coming for me yet, and calls him Big Brother. Abruptly, Xander's working an ice cream truck with Anya, and she asks him if he knows where he's going. She says he's thinking of getting back into vengeance. While they're talking, Willow and Tara, dressed in unusually revealing clothes and glossy makeup, make out with each other in the rear of the van and suggest he joins them. Accepting, Xander walks back, but ends up in his basement, alone. A growling beast of some kind tries to get into the door at the top of the stairs. Fleeing, Xander sees the cheese man and knows the cheese on his plate will not protect you. Sailing back at UC Sunnydale, John starts to tell Xander what is going on, emphasizing that he must listen carefully because his life may depend on what I'm about to tell you. But then John starts speaking French. Anya arrives but is also speaking French. They, and a group of others, grab Xander, carrying him away into a reenactment of the Apocalypse Now scene. Xander tells Xander that your time is running out, and he answers he is just trying to get away from something he can't fight. Xander says that he is a comfortador, as he had told Joyce. Xander tells him he's neither a soldier nor a comfortador, but rather a whipping boy. Xander makes a point to tell Xander how happy he is that the latter was eaten by a snake. Xander then tries to flee from the primitive and finds himself first at Giles' apartment, then at Buffy's dorm, and finally back in his basement room, where the monster at the top of the stairs turns out to be his own father, who berates and belittles him. Then Xander has his heart torn out by the primitive in the guise of his father. And now on to Giles's dream. Giles starts out at a fairground in Westfield Cemetery with his girlfriend Olivia, who was pregnant and pushing a baby stroller, and Buffy acting as if she were a young child. Buffy throws a ball, staking a vampire figure in a carnival game, and is rewarded with cotton candy. As Giles comments that she will get it all over her face, Buffy turns out her face is now covered in mud. Quicker than the others understand that something is wrong, Giles confronts Spike, who is posing for a photo shoot in his crypt, while Olivia sobs. Spike has hired himself out as a carnival sideshow, while the cheeseman is nearby wearing the slices. After lamenting that Buffy should have killed the vampire, Giles walks from the mausoleum to the Bronze, where he meets Anya getting applause and laughs as a stand-up comedian, and Xander with a bloody chest wound, and Willow, who warned him of their attacker. They're busy researching in old books, and ask Giles to help them, impressing upon him the importance of getting the right answer or we don't stand a chance. Giles brings out his song, and he realizes that the spell we cast with Buffy must have released some primal evil, and gives Willow and Xander orders on how to deal with what hunts them, but the sound system breaks down. He crawls backstage, following a cable. On the end of the tangle of wires, Giles finds a classic watch. He begins to realize who his pursuer is, as the girl jumps on top of him. Giles tells her that he can defeat her with his intellect, but she never understands as she never had a watcher. The girl then scalps him. Ugh. Anyway, and now let's take a look at Buffy's dream. Buffy's awakened by Anya in Buffy and Willow's dorm room, only to switch her own room at the home where she talks to Tara. She wonders where her friends are, so they were supposed to come over to watch movies. The primitive roars in Buffy's face, and she suddenly finds herself at home in her own bed. She gets out and looks at the sheets, saying that she and Faith have made the bed. Tara tells her she's lost them. Tara notes that a clock reading 7:30 is wrong and tries to get Buffy the tarot card that represents her, Manos, but Buffy says she's never going to use those. Buffy leaves to look for the others and Tara tells her to be back before dawn. In the UC Sunnydale hallway, Buffy talks to her mother, who lives in the walls, and meets Riley at the initiative. He's been when Surgeon General is drawing up plans with the human atom for world domination, starting by giving things names. Buffy asks Adam what his real name was before, but the human tells her that not a man among them can remember. The three of them are interrupted by a demon attack, and Riley and Adam leave to create a pillow for protection. When Buffy finds her weapons bag, the only thing in it is mud, which she smears on her face. Riley Armstrong says, "I thought you were looking for our friends." "Okay, killer, if that's the way you wanted, then I guess you're on your own." He leaves. Buffy starts walking and ends up in the desert, where, as the cheese man waves slices at her, she finally confronts the primitive girl, who speaks her terror and announces her identity as the very first Slayer. The first Slayer tells Buffy that she cannot have friends and must work alone. Buffy finds a tarot deck in her hands, but instead of the usual pictures, the top card is a video of all her friends, and how as they must look now in her living room. Buffy looks at it and says, "I'm not alone." Buffy says that she lives in the world and decides her own actions, and she demands a full life. The first Slayer says, "No friends, just kill. We are alone." Buffy replies, "That's it. I'm waking up." The Slayers fight in the desert, and then Buffy wakes up in the living room next to her dying friends. There, the first Slayer attacks her again and repeatedly stabs her with a knife, until Buffy realizes that she can stop the fight mentally if she just rejects the first Slayer and forbids her any power, telling her decisively, "You're not the source of me." The first Slayer vanishes and everybody wakes up. After waking up, everyone discusses their experience, and Giles tells everyone that during their essence with the Slayers was what caused the first Slayer to attack, believing it to be an affront to that power. As Xander feels awkward around Joyce, Buffy leaves to have a shower, feeling strange about her interaction with the first Slayer. As she passes her bedroom, Buffy hears Tara's voice in her head, warning her that she has no idea who she really is or what is coming. Dun dun dun. So now let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. Scooby Gang streams are shown in the same order part that they took part in the spell in Primeval. Each is killed by the first Slayer in a manner reflecting their contribution to joining spell. Willow has spirit, Xander has heart, Giles has mind, and Buffy has hand. In Willow's dream, Tara tells her, "You don't know everything about me." This is a hint to the secret that will be revealed to family, which already hid from her during a spell in Goodbye, Iowa. Willow taking drama class was established in the Yoko Factor. Her stage fright was previously explored in the season 1 episodes The Puppet Show and Nightmares. The staging of the play here also echoes elements from the talent show and The Puppet Show, most notably Giles as director giving a speech to rally the performers. In Willow's dream, after finding out she is in a play, she hopes that is in Madame Butterfly, and she has a whole problem with opera, in reference to the events from Nightmares. During Willow's dream, Buffy rips off her costume, and she is wearing the same dress she wore in the first episode, Welcome to the Hellmouth. In Xander's dream, Snyder quotes Apocalypse Now as he did before in Gingerbread, and Xander finally tells him what he thinks of him, as he promised to do on Halloween. Excuse me. In Xander's dream, Buffy refers to him as Big Brother, a term that surprises him as he recognizes the absence of romantic feelings towards him, as she turned him down in Prophecy Girl. Notably, Buffy and Donna are the only women he does not sexualize during the dream. The suit Spike is wearing in Xander's dream was worn by him again in Tabula Rasa. Giles remarks during the dream that Spike is like a son to him. In Tabula Rasa, Spike and Giles assume that they are father and son. This part of the dream also makes reference to a shark on land, which foreshadows a lone shark demon from the same episode. Xander dreams of his most recent job as an ice cream man. In Xander's dream, Anya says that she's thinking of getting back into vengeance. After the failed wedding Hell's Bells, she'll accept becoming a vengeance demon again. Xander dreams of all paths leading back to his parents' basement, and finally move out to his own place in the replacement. Giles dreams of hypnotizing Buffy with a watch. He did hypnotize Buffy for Tentio di Cruciamentum, sorry if I mispronounced that, and Helpless. Sorry about that. The sideshow vampire in Giles' dream is Drac. The actual Dracula appears in the following episode, Buffy vs. Dracula. In Buffy's dream, she mentions that she and Faith had just made the bed, a reference to their shared dream in This Year's Girl. Tara asks, "For who?" Buffy replies, "I thought you were here to tell me." Buffy looks at the clock made by Sony, which has O and Y blackened out, and the time is 7:30 a.m. So the letters on the clock reach out to bottom S and AM. The morning sun is called the dawn, the name of Buffy's upcoming sister. This is immediately repeated when Tara hands her the Manus card from the previous episode upside down, so he's left to write Sun Am or Sun AM. Buffy mentions how late it is after looking at the clock in the room. Tara replies, "Oh, that clock's completely wrong." This is a foreshadowing of her death in The Gift and a reminder of Buffy's dream on Graduation Day Part 2, when Faith said, counting down from 730. Tara says that the clock is wrong. Tara saying that the clock is wrong means that she no longer has 730 days. Dream Rise use of the term killer in reference to Buffy harkens back to Bad Girls, in which Buffy tells Faith that being a slayer is not the same as being a killer. This motif is used again in This Year's Girl, when Faith in Buffy's body says, "I'm not a killer, I am the slayer." In The Gift, Buffy will initially conclude that a slayer really is just a killer after all, until she'll finally figure out that death is her gift. Buffy dreams that Adam tells her that the two of them come by aggression, differently than humans. She responds, "We're not demons," presumably referring to herself and her fellow slayers, to which Adam questions, "Is that a fact?" In the episode Get It Done, Buffy will discover that the first Slayer was created with the essence of a demon, as well as the Slayer line. Buffy discovers Sinia in a desert without speech, name, or humanity, an isolation the first Slayer experienced from her tribe in Prologue. Buffy chooses her friends and will reject being put in the same position and get it done, as the fear of isolation was externalized in fear itself. Spike opined in the Yoko Factor that what makes Buffy such a successful Slayer is her friends and family supporting her. So Nikki notes in School Hard and will tell her in Fool for Love. In Buffy's dream, Tara tells Buffy, "You think you know what's to come, what you are. You haven't even begun." Dracula will, Dracula will later say a very similar to Buffy in Buffy vs. Dracula, and Ali went to Willow in Wolves at the Gate Part 4. Buffy will recognize the desert in which she confronts her Slayer as the same location she will undergo the Vision Quest and intervention. Tara says to Buffy, "Be back before dawn," a final foreshadowing of the arrival of Dawn Summers, who makes her appearance in the following episode. In Willow's dream, she and Tara discuss naming her, followed by Will opening the curtain to reveal the Dawn. The episode is of Buffy looking puzzled at her bedroom, where Dawn will first appear. After Scooby's wake from their dream, Giles claims he warned them that the enjoying spell could have dire consequences. He doesn't say this on screen in Primeval, though he does say the spell is extraordinarily dangerous. Yep, that turns out to be true. So let's take a look at some production notes from this episode. This is the first of only 2 episodes not containing a teaser, but instead goes straight into the opening titles of the recap, the other being Once More Revealing. This marks Seth Green, Armin Shimmerman, and Penia Orchoi's final appearances in the show. Some of those bizarre transitions in location, where characters suddenly step from one familiar setting to another, reflect the actual layout of the Buffy studio lot, from the magic box, the bronze, UC Sunnydale Lecture Hall, and our locations are all housed in a large converted warehouse. The translation of the French segment. The house where we're all sleeping. All your friends are there having Giles in French. The house where we're all sleeping. All your friends are there having a wonderful time and getting on their lives. The creature can hurt you here. Xander in English. What? Go where? I don't understand. Giles in French. For God's sake, there's no time for idiotic games. Anya in French. Xander, you have to come with us now. Everybody's waiting for you. Giles in French. That's what we're trying to tell him. Xander in English. Honey, I can't hear you. Anya in French. It's not important. I'll take you there. Xander in English. Well, wait, where are we going? In the French dub version, in the part where Giles and Anya speak French, they speak French gibberish instead. According to Armin Shimmerman, he had never actually seen Marlon Brando's performance in Apocalypse Now and watched it specifically to prepare for this episode. This is not the first time Shimmerman has done an impression of Marlon Brando as Colonel Kurtz. He intimidated the actor as Don Vito Corleone in the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode, The Nagus. Whedon explains that the line, "I wear the cheese, it does not wear me," is him making fun of the line for the man in their mask. "I wear the mask, it does not wear me." The desert in Buffy's dream is the same desert that appears in the episode War Stories of the series Firefly, also created by Joss Whedon. Rob Bolton, who portrays the movie soldier in this episode, returns as an actor in Judgment. And now let's take a look at some pop culture references. Riley refers to the events of the initiative as the Bay of Mutated Pigs, a reference to the Bay of Pigs invasion, a failed 1961 invasion of Cuba by the U.S. government. When Xander says he has Apocalypse Now as one of the movie options for movie night, Will asks, "Do you have anything less Heart of Darkness-y?" Heart of Darkness is a novella on which the film is based. The palette VHS films also includes Prom Night and Thelma and Louise. Willow paints a poem, "Deathless Aphrodite on your lavish throne," by the ancient Greek poet Sappho, known as a symbol of love and desire between women. Willow mentions her problem with the opera Madame Butterfly. In Willow's dream, the drama class is purportedly performing the play Death of a Salesman, although the character's style and stage action are shown are unrelated to Arthur Miller's play. Willow begins reading her book review on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. And now finally, let's take a look at some goofs. During Xander's dream, as he moves to the back of the ice cream truck and begins to crawl, the surfing window changes from a scene of the street outside to blue screen just before the window's out of view. The arrows are visible on the 60x9 Region 2 and 4 DVDs. When Buffy and Sinea roll down the hill fighting, a camper van is visible in the background. So overall, it's the final episode of Buffy Season 4. It's kind of interesting and definitely foreshadows some things that we're going to be seeing next season. So, yeah. So overall, I give Restless 5 vampire steaks out of 5. Well, thank you all so much for joining me on Buffyverse June 2024. I hope you enjoyed this look at Buffy Season 4. And don't forget to come Don't forget to tune in next year as we take a look at Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 5. Anyway, and of course, next month we're going to be starting up Supernatural Summer 2024 when we take a look at Supernatural Season 4, which is my favorite season of the show. So, yeah. So, until next year, here endeth the lesson.